Okay. Okay. So good evening, everyone. Finally, you have a chance to hear in live Nenad Tanskovic, my partner, like co-founder in Highway, my friend, because we know each other for I don't know at least 10 years, and actually you know I think that most of you know everything about him, and he will tell something more about himself. And but you know that he has started 7 years ago with crypto, and actually we met because I have moved to Hungary yeah, 8 years ago, and next summer we met in Belgrade, and we were talking about everything. And he told me that he has started with Bloxico and blockchain, and how did he start. But actually, at that moment, I was not open for it, and I didn't get it seriously because, as I told you, I had wrong opinion about crypto, like most of people. And when we have started 4 years ago with Mosaic chain, actually he was the first one whom I told about this project, and I organized meeting with Attila Vidakovic and Molnar Peter, and actually they have started to work some things for Mosaic project, and then they met Andrea Markovic, Attila and Peter. And when they met Andrea Markovic, they told me, Robert, oh, we must catch this guy to work with us, because at that moment they didn't know Wiggy. Later they found Wiggy to organize developing of the Mosaic chains. But actually, when Attila and Peter heard that Nenad and me, we want to work on this, and main developer will be Andrea Markovic. They were very, very, very happy. So I think that few days later they put Bloxico as the significant partner of Mosaic Chain and so on. So anyway, I think that we have made so we have made even bigger project and stronger project than we thought 6, 7, 8 months ago. And you will hear now directly from Nenad Tanskovic, who is CEO of Bloxico. So he is the chief, okay? And he made all the decisions. He's coordinating whole project. And I think that you will see in the future that actually his strongest knowledge is in organizing, in motivating developers, in coordinating them, and of course, strategic thinking, what is good for the future and what is not so important in this moment, and so on. So you will hear from him. Actually, Alex Dimitrievich couldn't catch up tonight. So Nenad Tanskovic will present to you Highway and Gildy, everything. And if you have any questions to him, but I really hope that we have answered all your questions when they rise. But if you have anything what you would like to ask now directly, Nenad, you can write it in the chat, so you don't have to answer it immediately, but then we will check what you wrote to us, and we will try to answer to all your questions. We will have recording of this training, and you can use it later, and I think that you will enjoy this call. So, long story short, Nenad, thank you for being here. And from now on, microphone is yours.
Okay, thank you, Robert. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Okay, great. Can you see this presentation?
Yes,
Oh, we
it's
can.
okay also. Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, let me Let me start then. Okay. I think many of them listened to me and maybe heard. So I'll try to go through the introduction. So my name is Nenad Tanaskovic. I'm born in Serbia, but life took me around the globe. So I'm also South African. Spend a lot of time in UK and internationally.
Also, you,
Sorry?
Adriano, can you mute everybody except Nenad? Nenad, you can unmute yourself now, Nenad, but
Okay, great.
everybody else, okay.
Okay. By education, I'm a mathematician, doing optimization, but by I would say by nature, I'm an engineer, and I started doing being in IT, actually dealing with software and a little bit with hardware, um, back now it's 4 decades ago. So if anybody remembers the PC revolutions actually and graphic user interface wave, that was my first wave I experienced in IT. Um, what I initially, when I was in Serbia, I started to work in a technical institute, Mihailo Pupin. Uh, Actually, I was one of the strongest technical institute in Europe during last century. Interestingly to say that, not this one, but the previous one. And first robotic hand and some of the first computers were assembled there. So my initial experience was there. Then I decided to leave Serbia, and I ended up being in South Africa. And there I actually came as an engineer, as a C and C++ engineer. Started to work with completely different domain in fintech. And the fintech, that's the financial engineering and technical things there. So software systems for the financial markets. That's fintech. Now with the blockchain, somebody can say fintech is a little bit DeFi, is a little bit fintech, but I would not put them together as yet. We started in South Africa to work on the risk management system. Then we were acquired by the UK venture capital. If you're sending the messages, I have every second I have some beep, beep, beep. If you can stop, please, doing that. Okay. So we were acquired by UK venture capital, and very soon we listed the company on the publicly on the stock exchange in London. So we were like PLC company, and the innovation that we brought in the financial market at the time was to offer the real-time risk for the overall position. There was, how to say, it was kind of competition who's going to be the first one in the history who did that. We were the first one. I wouldn't say I was the first one because I had a big team. It was 100 people, more or less, involved. I was the architect and moved to management in a certain point of time, and I was leading the team and the operation in South Africa that was producing this kind of system. Absolutely fantastic portfolio of clients, as you can read here. Royal Bank of Scotland, Deutsche Bank, Japanese banks, the Israeli banks, the Middle East banks, Kuwait Reserve Bank, all the main players in south of Africa, south part of Africa. So they were all kind of my clients as far as the system is concerned. I was not doing the sales. There was people in London that were doing the sales, but I was responsible for the production and of that system. What is interesting in to say that the system we went live with Bank of America 1998 and last year, so 26 years after that, I was visiting London and then seeing some people there who, like my clients or people I talk to, responsible for the implementation of that system. And I was shocked, basically, or positively surprised when I learned that they told me that one of the best or even the best system they still use is the system that we made back 26 years ago. How is that possible, and what did we do then? It's a different subject. So, but I would say that that is the biggest compliment I ever received from anyone in my professional life. I did exit 2005, so I was completely out of IT, and I had a good rest. But life brought me back to IT 2016, and very soon in blockchain 2017, I joined a startup in Belgrade doing the gaming kind of cryptocurrency was a game credits was the main gaming cryptocurrency in the world at the time, and we started this. I joined this startup. Just lower my. Okay, can you hear me? Okay, thanks. I just lower my sound because I just get every second some beeps. Sorry about that. I joined and very soon realized that people in the Web3 industry are actually there's a lot of young people, technical people with not of sufficient business knowledge. So I actually left that startup and established Bloxico to 2018. So that's when we started. So who is Bloxico? Is the company established, as I said, 2018. Not only by myself. I was the main kind of founder, the main partner, and I had some people started with me, people with blockchain knowledge that knew blockchain much better than I actually had. My experience was 2018. We established Bloxico, and interestingly, we wanted to make our product, and that for years that didn't happen. But what happened is that we gained a huge experience horizontally and vertically working with the Polkadot, Moonbeam, Filecoin, Cardano, ZK MIPS, Avalanche, and many other ecosystems, Flare, EVM, non-EVM, proof of work, proof of stake, and a different consensus also that we were exposed and gaining really huge amount of experience across the whole team over these years. Um, and also growing in the revenue, and we got this reward from Deloitte at the point they actually came to us and said, we recognize you as fastest growing company in this part of Europe. And in a way, since then we become account for them, because they even today actually are interested what we are doing, how we are doing, and we meet here and there to talk about the business. And it's also very important when you have a company to have knowledgeable and known partners like a Deloitte. This is just a cut down list of our clients. Is a huge number of clients, huge amount of project that we involved. I don't want to read this to you. You can read it yourself. But generally, application level, protocol level, different ecosystem, different frameworks, different languages, programming languages. So I will give you a little bit to read it so I can move on. And this is very important. So people think that, for instance, this system, which is still being used in Bank of America, was the best in the world, was the leading system in the world in the toughest possible competition setup, which is financial engineering. And people think, how can you do that? How can you become one of the leading system in the world? And when people ask me, I say there's nothing easier than that, and also there's nothing more difficult than that. And how I made it easy for us, and I can take a credit for this. I realized when I got involved in management that no engineering knowledge will help you to succeed. You can have Newton and Tesla and Einstein in the team, but it's not going to guarantee the success. What you need to have is a culture and the core values align among the whole team. So when people ask me, how did you manage to do that, and how you're going to make highway to follow the steps of the system to become the best in the world, I'll just say by culture. Simple by culture. Having solid engineers, having solid experts, and putting the culture around that, and actually they play as a team, not just because there's more people there, not a group of people. A group of people is not a team. Group of people is just like a people that basically, if you don't make them a team, they will work against each other, step on each other's toes and stuff like that. So responsibility, effectiveness, simplicity, solution seeking, and these are very important stuff. Winning attitude, self-confidence. As you all know, that one of the main issue we all have as human being is actually ability to manage ourselves and to find the professional version of ourselves, meaning that find things we love, find things that we have born with abilities and talent. And so many people are doing so many wrong things, and I'm sure that when Robert talked to you, and one of the reason why you are in doing things you're doing is yes, there is talent, sure, but without a drive and love for it, you're not gonna go far. And the last thing is to say, if I'm doing that, it would be good that I have some kind of financial reward for it. So the essential thing, in my opinion, and not only on the opinion, because I have results to put behind this, is absolutely essential to have to conquer the world technically, which is much easier than to stay on the top of the world, meaning one of the leading products. It's much more difficult to stay there than to get there. You can get there, touch, and then you fall. You have a free fall. Mm, You know, some people maybe have that experience, but it's much more difficult to stay when you reach this level. And the only thing, in my opinion, experience is the culture and the atmosphere and the simplicity, which gives you a huge confidence, power, and basically you have a team that there's nowhere to go apart from growing, and nobody's going to stop it. Um, so highway problem statement. So if you have nothing to solve, then why we should do any system, any product? So there's always the main question is, what is my problem statement and what kind of pain I am recognizing and I'm trying to solve. So if somebody tells you the problem statement or pains, and if you don't resonate with that person, it means that either you're not on market for that, or these people are kind of not making so much sense. Okay, so our problem statement is extremely clear and extremely simple, and it's not rocket science. It's actually simpler than anybody can imagine. And in our problem statement, we talk about insufficient um, decentralization in a blockchain world these days. Then we talk about complete absence of architecture, or even simpler, any kind of standard of agreement, how we're going to behave when we are not in the ecosystem. Meaning that if we are in Ethereum, we have all the rules there, proof of stake and validators and absolutely many things defined, immutable, transparent, and stuff like that. Similar to in Polkadot ecosystem, similar to in Solana and so on. So, but once we are in between Solana and Polkadot or Ethereum, we are extremely confused. We are in a hostile environment. We have nothing to hold on to. We have some bridges, and we know the bridges traditionally are to be exploited, and the huge risk is to move your capital and to move your money from one ecosystem to the other ecosystem. And absolutely, there is need for these movements because of all the financial kind of intents like hedging, investments, trading, speculation, arbitrage, all that. It's actually putting the pressure to be to travel across the ecosystem. And this traveling to ecosystem by experience these days and so far in the blockchain is extremely hostile, meaning it's not comfortable, it's not cozy, it's not defined. Nobody tells you, are you allowed to get 8 kilograms suitcase or 8 tons? No rules. So we are tackling this problem that there's no rules of how we're gonna behave in out of ecosystem space. Some people call it cross-chain space, multi-chain space, but somehow I actually, when I talk about that, I want to highlight that this space is much bigger than the summary of all the ecosystems, much bigger space. And as ecosystems are growing, this space is growing, and it's for me it's strange that we we don't have kind of at least some kind of protocol, some kind of rules, architecture, how we're gonna behave moving through this space. And somebody will say, okay, but why we move? We want to just bridge, cross bridge. No, because we're crossing and we are trying to be very quick just because we are not comfortable. There is a huge danger on these bridges. Instead of not feeling a danger, feeling the security, and we can then say, aha, my intention is to monitor this ecosystem, do something on that one, come back and plan the whole journey. And this journey now, it's very difficult to plan because it's not convenient to move through ecosystems. Sometimes you don't have a bridge between some ecosystems. Sometimes you have 5 bridges, but all of them are hacked, and then you're not comfortable to move, let's say, $200,000 through bridge because you just move it $500 by $500, and then you pay for each movement just because you don't want to lose 200,000 if you're comfortable to lose 500 at a time. Okay, so this is the problem that we are attacking or pain, and the summary pain is moving, going to a difficult traveling is actually costly traveling because you always pay something. You pay there, you pay there, you pay just to see something there, and then you see it's not what you want to see. You come back, you pay, go there, you pay back. So you pay all the way, and in the end, the total traveling cost is huge. And this total traveling cost, we believe, could be optimized. Okay, so this is how when we talk about the blockchain and we want to sounds like it's that we believe in this and we make this kind of picture. And this kind of picture means there is a Earth globe, and around this Earth there's a network, a nice looking network with all these nodes. And each of these nodes, these are the peers, peer-to-peer, peer node, core client, blockchain, um, client. These are all synonyms, the same things. Basically, blockchain is a peer-to-peer network. It means that every peer talks to the other peer. And we want to say, okay, it looks like that. But generally, it doesn't look like that, um, because we have what problems we have. We have problem that we have data centers, so we suddenly have one. We have like a 10,000 of nodes just in one place. Uh, then we have a cloud. Then we have like on the Amazon Web Service in a Frankfurt area, we have like a 500,000 nodes of different ecosystems. And then we say, okay, are we really decentralized? Are we really nicely distributed and decentralized like on this picture? And the answer is unfortunately not. We are not. We want to be like this, but we are not like this. Okay. And one good news for me, as I'm sure many of them have Mosaic chain validators, and also we have in Bloxico Mosaic chain validators. Mosaic is one of the first systems that actually uh, are doing the real decentralization, and it's not so difficult to understand, and it's not like rocket science concept. It's just the fact that Mosaic chain wants somebody to be a validator on a separate machine in his home next to a fridge or next to a TV or in a working room or in somewhere connected to electricity and connected to internet. Simple as that. So the power of that comparing for this being in a data center or being on the cloud, I don't want to even talk to you about. So if we have 2,400 independent validators on Mosaic chain, that very little number of them are on the cloud and in data centers. They are in the individual homes, apartments across the countries, across the city, countries different. Then we talk about decentralization. We talk about independence. We talk about extremely difficult possibility for somebody to stop it. If you have a cloud and you have outreach, many of them know what's happened like 2 times now in the last month and a half, where was the outrage of the AWS and the Cloudflare and things, suddenly nothing was working. Okay, nothing was working, which was centralized, which was on the cloud, and everything is on the cloud, and which is in data centers. So Mosaic chain, even Amazon Web Service, and the biggest data centers stop working for whatever reason. Maybe not intentionally, maybe it's going to be in some kind of, I don't want to go on this, what could be, but you get me. Mosaic chain will operate. Maybe many chains that we kind of think are going to be up and running will not be up and running. But Mosaic chain will be there just because of you guys and different communities in a different part of the world, and then different we talk about with with different in different even languages, and in Hungary and Europe and Asia and Africa and stuff like that. Mosaic chain will be up and running, and that's the power, that decentralization. There is no rocket science, not like a heavy math. It's just a simple little thing which you build in this strategy. I don't want to have data centers. I don't want to have cloud. I want people to have this node in the house, in the apartment, And so what Highway is doing is actually taking this mosaic chain concept, which is fantastic, at least for me, and amplifying. So if mosaic chain is this kind of a block, Highway is gonna multi. Highway, you have intention for the first time that actually when you draw the diagram of Highway, you should have a chance to actually draw something like this. Okay, so and when I spoke to people, and sometimes people ask, "Are you sure that's only that?" Yes, I say absolutely that. So the beauty is in simplicity. If I hear people talking about relativity theory and stuff like that, and then actually, and if I cannot understand it, and people can understand that it's something is wrong there. This is extremely simple, and we call it a cross-chain revolution. This cross-chain, multi-chain, as I said, for me, that's out of ecosystems space. That's how the quality is. We want to make a revolution there, and the revolution is extremely simple. We want to have 6,000 independent, not cloud, not data centers, hubs or nodes or peers that are extremely extending decentralization. Plus, we cannot have nice working 6,000 nodes working together if we don't put a solid architecture in this space to say how do we behave, how do we send information, how do we receive information, how do we trust this information, who is gonna execute certain amount of work, how are we gonna reward it, and make it all transparent and make it all working. So it's 100 times more distributed. It's actually, I would say, that's kind of properly distributed. What we have at the moment, it's not properly distributed. I will not even compare the current situation because I believe, it's my opinion, an opinion of people I work with, that this distribution is not as it could be and it should be. And also, it's very important that we don't have all the nodes in Italy or all nodes in Hungary. We want to be all over the globe. So for us, it's very important to have our relayers. Mosaic has validator and we have relayers. So similar thing, it's peer, node, peer, peer, but we are relaying. It means focusing on the transfer, on the transport of information, and Mosaic is a blockchain, proof of stake. So we want to be around the globe. So we want to have like in Australia, in South Africa, in Latin America, in North America, in Europe, in Russia, in Japan, all over the globe. We want to have nodes or peers, and that's gonna be then we can say we are decentralized, and then we are up and running 24/7, and all kind of probabilities of not having electricity or having some kind of difficult conditions will not even touch us. We'll be up and running and strong and decentralized. And the moment when we started, what was 4 months ago, and a little bit more, there was like six of us. First three of us was Robert, myself and Andrea. Then we grew into 6, 7, and then we started. And now we are over team over 30 people. And what is this? Some people will say, great, there's so many of them, But the thing is that you should know, and I know that the biggest kind of risk or biggest trouble that you can get involved with is the growth. So when you are growing, it's a good news. But anything that functions with 6 people in the room or on the internet virtually will not function with 30 people. So the risk of growth is brutal. The biggest amount of people not succeeding is that they're growing and they don't know how to manage this risk, and some they do everything good, but they don't succeed just because you have to understand the different models, different operations when there is a number of people. And it's not rocket science to gain, but if you're not aware of that, then you have a problem. And if you don't have an experience. And one thing I want to correct Robert, when he talked about me, that I have knowledge about something. My knowledge is there to be, but experience is what is important. And sometimes I kind of people don't understand me, but I'm intentionally asking this question when I sit and speak to somebody, ask him, and we speak about DevOps or we speak about proof of stake protocol. I just ask him, how much money did you make doing that? You know, if you didn't make sufficient amount of money to support you and your family, then we are chit-chatting. Then you have some knowledge, and then I have some knowledge about something, and that we can't talk business. But we can talk business if I made millions doing something and some person made sufficient amount of money doing something, then we can talk business. And it's experience, not knowledge. Knowledgeable people could be useless people, and people with limited and extremely low knowledge can be winners and people that actually brings the value on the table. That's one thing. The other thing is, like, people ask you, why do you have a team? It's kind of simple question, but it's decent to ask. But if I could do it myself alone, I wouldn't need a team. So I don't need a team just to market. We have a team, and just kind of team. You start teaming up when you want to deal with a bigger thing, deal with a bigger scope, with a bigger challenge. And the dangerous thing when you teaming up is if you select people that are less capable than you in a certain aspect. So that's the biggest mistake people make. So if for instance, if I need somebody with Solana knowledge, and if I find somebody with Solana product knowledge, for instance, and if he comes to work with me, and then I tell him, do this, do this, do this, do this, we are not gonna go far, because he comes and join us to tell us what we need to do, not we to tell him what to do. So that's very important, that I work with people better than me, better than me. And people say, how it's possible that Katarina, who is our PM, who is orchestrating the whole team with the 5 years of experience with running 20 projects, how can she be better than me? I have like over 500 projects behind my belt and over 3 decades management, you know. So the answer is extremely simple because am I good enough to do that? Yes, I am. Is she good enough to do that? Yes, she is. And question is, can you guess what has more drive to run the project? Me, after 500 projects technical, or her with 20 and looking forward with all the energy and that. She's a better choice. Doesn't mean better than me. It's not competition, but she's a better choice. So working with people better than you in a certain aspect, which is not what amount of experience somebody has, it's actually who is the best to do something and who is the good enough to take the responsibility. And I like to work with people that take care of something. Take care of something. So I don't work with people that I have to explain when I have to just kind of I need this to be solved. I'll take care of something, somebody else. So what is better than then? Because much better than then that people see what we need and they take care of that without even I telling them. That's the best. The best is when that happened. And sometimes people tell me, we can't read your mind, you know. But you don't need to read my mind. You just need to read the situation and take care of your responsibility. Anyway, so I'm pleased that I work with directly with these two people, which is Robert on the fundraising. You know Robert, and also I have this block, which is relayer operators. I think now we're reaching 1,000 people that bought these packages, and when we go to testnet and mainnet next year, are going to be our precious relayer operators. I can't explain enough significance of this block. Bloxico can produce good software and we can raise money and then we can commercialize our product. But without these guys operating the relayers and taking care of that, we cannot function. So that's very important. And it is slightly different, actually fundamentally different, this kind of crowdfunding that we are raising money to put this together than the old-fashioned crowdfunding. Old-fashioned crowdfunding was, I have this idea, I put on the website, we have a launch pad, and then people say, aha, this is idea is it sounds okay, you know, maybe there's no better idea around, so I put my money, some of my money there. And then from the moment of putting the money in a certain token, we are stopping to be partners because these people, they want to get rich as soon as possible. And if I don't make this magic, I'm becoming not very popular. So we are not sharing the good and the bad of partnership in this model. I don't like this model. I will never follow this model. When Robert came to me and he talked to me about this model, I say, great, this is the elegant and smart crowdfunding, which I love because every person who invests money has obligation to run the relayer and to share and good and the bad. So never is gonna be the bad. I mean, that's bullshit. It's gonna be problems, but it's about solving them, not about bitching about them. Solving them and using them and improve and to become good enough and to take the market share and then become the world known brand. That's what we want to do. So that's what I like about this model. And that's one challenge always. You have the idea, uh, you have recognized the pain, you have a solution how we're gonna do, but you need to raise money. It's, that's always the biggest problem. Once you raise money, then you make your system, and then the next challenge is to uh, commercialize the whole thing, and that's we have Alex who joined us. He couldn't join us today, but he is actually joining us from the Web3 Foundation, directly working um, with Kevin Wood. But he is with us, and he's leading our go-to-market affairs, and the rest is this team, which is a 30 plus, and it's growing. Um, I actually realize I actually taking a lot of time, so I'll try to cut down a little bit. So this is our system, and you can see here highway, and you can see yieldy here. So I'll start from highway. So highway is this what I was telling to you. It's a peer-to-peer system or peer-to-peer network, which is similar to blockchain, but it is not blockchain. So if somebody is asking why it's not blockchain, maybe sounds strange. Blockchain is not technically advanced to be used for highway. So we are using blockchain, and we are relying on Mosaic chain as a protocol provider for the blockchain immutabilities, uh, consensus, and all that stuff. And we are doing some other things to satisfy the requirements of the speed and communication and messaging of this magnitude. So highway is peer-to-peer network, decentralized, but it's not a blockchain. And maybe it's going to become blockchain, but then we will need maturity of the blockchain technology for that. So I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know what's going to happen in 5 years' time, but it could happen. The one thing you have to understand, Mosaic has two roles. It has protocol provider, but also has the one of the chains that we are interfacing, and it's actually through Mosaic we are going through the Polkadot. So Mosaic chains protocol provider and also gateway to Polkadot. And we are for MVP supporting Mosaic, Solana, and Ethereum, and we are working on Binance chain. So why do we need yield? Just because we decided not to sell messages, uh, blockchain messages. We don't want to sell that, relaying of messages, although there is a market for that. But we said we want to penetrate the market and commercialize this whole project through Yieldy. So the Yieldy is application that is using all the power of Highway to offer certain functionality in a way that was not possible to be offered without this highway layer or highway relayer peer-to-peer network. And in essence, how do I preserve um, how do I see highway yieldy? So yieldy is just the best place for your capital to be. So I have a certain capital. I put to yieldy, and it's there. It's secured, and it's the well looked after. And this yieldy is offering the best yield possible at this moment of time. And as time is going and the market situation is changing, then Yieldy is doing the management of leaving certain yield providers that are lowering their rates and moving to the other, taking into account the cost of transfer and stuff like that, and satisfying the intent. Like, I have $10,000 and I know I will need 2,000. I mean, talk dollars, but talking about USDT or USDC. So I say, I want to put to Yieldy 10,000. I want you to know that I will take 2,000, one of these days. And the rest you can place on a longer period because it can be 2 months. But generally, if I need more than 2,000, I will make a call or in 7 days in advance. Okay, so that's intent, and you give the capital and also intent to Yieldy, basically to this place which is like gonna take care of your capital, and you don't worry about it. So if you are a sophisticated trader that is sitting in front of trading computer or monitors, Yieldy is not for you. Yieldy is for a simple person or a big institution that just want to know that my capital is in a good hands and secured, and especially secured when you talk about multi-chain, because multi-chain is a dangerous thing. So Yieldy is the product that brings security and a comfort in the multi-chain space, and you don't want to need to worry that your capital is a certain amount of time in Ethereum, and then it's moved to Solana, and it's moved to Binance. But all in all, your capital is yielding, actually giving you interest rate, and you know that if you do it yourself, you may make a bigger yield, but also you can also lose a lot of money by doing the wrong stuff. But you don't have anybody on the market, any yield provider to give it there. It will give you the less yield because you will be stuck with one or with the two. So thank you very much. I think I broke all the time. So Robert, back to you.
Thank you, thank you. Actually, you didn't broke the time because we started a little bit later. Let's check the questions. Uh, okay, not, but they thanks that it was very informative night. So thank you everyone. I suppose that you will come to the main presentation, and I will give back the microphone to Adriano so he can organize the lottery for tonight. And thank you, Nenad. Thank you. It was great.
Okay, so I prepared this already, so share screen.
Did you unmute everyone?
Yeah, they can unmute themselves. Alex, can you unmute yourself?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
okay.
we are able to unmute ourselves. Thank you, Mr.
Okay.
Nenad. Very fantastic information.
A few people have filled out the form 3 times, 4 times. I just removed the double names, so you know, like I said, don't cheat. It's only once to fill out the form. Adil Abbas.
Adil Abbas.
Hello.
Hello. Where is Adil? Adil
Yes,
Abbas.
Indiana.
Good evening. Can you put the camera on as well?
Yeah, I'm trying, but it's not working. I don't know what happened. Something went wrong. Hey, permission. Yes, along. I don't have the permission. I want to restart this device, I think so.
No, it's not a problem. It's not a problem. Sometimes on telephone or mobile, this is a little bit harder to find, but it's okay. Just send us your ID.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Sonal.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Iman F.
Sorry, Iman F. Iman F. Unmute करें please camera को.
5 seconds. 5.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Just in time. Just in time.
Just in time.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Yeah.
Sir, why this is not clear?
Okay, आपको
Sir,
पैकेज मिल
voice
गया.
is not
पैकेज
clear.
मिल गया. Congratulations.
MBQ. Muhammad.
I am present, sir. I am present.
Okay, so how many package you have won? 2?
कितने पैकेज आपने विन किए?
सर जी कल एक 100 वाला विन हुआ था.
कल yesterday he have win the
Yesterday he
100.
won. Yeah.
And today again. Okay, congratulations. So that's it for you.
Okay.
Okay, guys. So
Okay.
we have another call in 1 hour and 50 minutes. So guys, share, go out there, call your people, and let's come on this call. See you guys in a bit.
Bye bye.
Thank you, Nenad. Bye-bye, everyone. See you later.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. We are very grateful.
Bye-bye.